Just a heads up, Square-Enix provided me with a free code for Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake. Thank you Square, I appreciate it. Now on to the video.
Ready?
Dragon Quest has been a series I've known since I was a wee lad playing Dragon Warrior on the NES. It was one of the first RPGs I ever played, and the series has carved out a nice little corner in my brain. So of course, I was very interested in the classics getting a modern day facelift. And after what feels like a billion years, we finally have an HD-2D remake for Dragon Quest III, with 1 and 2 coming next year. For those that don't know, Dragon Quest III is a prequel to Dragon Quests 1 and 2, hence why it is getting a release first. At least that's what I'm assuming. So let's take a look at the beginning of the Urgic trilogy and see if the wait was worth it. Dragon Quest III has you take the role as the offspring of Ortega, a legendary hero of the land. He's gone missing and is presumed dead. On your 16th birthday, the king of your hometown charges you with a quest to destroy the archfiend Baramos, an enemy that threatens the world. And that's pretty much it. The plot of Dragon Quest III is pretty bare bones and straightforward, which isn't a bad thing. But if you're looking for a deep or convoluted plot, this ain't it. It's a classic tale where you venture out to save the world. The game has a couple of twists to keep you invested, and there's an okay amount of lore for some characters and locations. Taking the story for how it is, I think it's fine. It doesn't blow me away, but it doesn't bore me either. Combat-wise, Dragon Quest is pretty simple as well. It's your very traditional fight, run, spell, or item system. Depending on their vocation, which is a character's class, characters learn skills and spells as they level up. So unlike a lot of modern day RPGs, levels actually matter. You could choose to control each character per turn, or via the tactics menu, select a strategy and they'll execute commands automatically. Combat in Dragon Quest III is classic and enjoyable. It does lack a lot of depth, but I don't consider it a bad thing considering that it's an older title. Most of the depth comes from the vocations and personality systems. Characters can learn skills in one vocation, change to a new one, and the skills they learn will be kept and carry over. Every character has a personality trait which actually determines how their stats grow. For example, one personality might focus more on strength, while another on agility. At the start of the game, you'll take a personality test by answering questions. It's definitely a unique concept, but I honestly feel it's kind of empty considering that you could change personalities throughout the game using items or equipment. This takes the wind out of its sails in my opinion. You don't have to worry about any consequence for your decisions. And sure, one could say that people can change, so a personality change can make sense, but for it to happen just by using an item is pretty lame. But the positives I see for it are the gamers that like to optimize and max out their party, so finding the perfect combo of vocation and personality does seem fun. Personally, I played the whole game with the personalities provided to me. The game says I'm a thug, fine, then forever shall I be the bully hero of the world. Oh, this mage is a complete clown? Then so be it. I accept this mage for who he is. My own personal take is that I would have liked the personality system more if it was permanent from start to finish, so it adds some actual stakes to it, but it's perfectly okay how it is. This game is a remake, so let's pivot over to what is new to this HD-2D version. The remake adds some more plot points about Ortega, so you can learn more about the hero's father. There are some new bosses and monsters added, though it's been so long since I played the original Dragon Quest III that I have no clue which ones were new or old. A new vocation was added called Monster Wrangler, as well as a monster arena. Throughout the game you can find random friendly monsters scattered throughout the world. You can recruit them and then battle with them in the monster arena. The addition of this monster arena didn't really hit with me, but it was cool to add a piece of content like this, and I know there's a monster collecting crowd that would really enjoy it. There are also some quality of life improvements, my favorite one being the ability to increase combat speed. The speed of actions during combat are pretty slow on default, and the ultra fast speed really helps move things along. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded if it was a bit faster. Not that the combat in Dragon Quest III is boring to look at, but once you get through the first 10 hours or so, there's no need to let it slow you down. Of course, the big change in this remake would be the graphics style. Updated character sprites, HD-2D modeled settings, particle effects, the works. Before I get into my view on this, I just want to say, I think the game looks good. With that said, I do have to say that out of all the HD-2D RPGs that have popped up and that I have played, Dragon Quest III is at the bottom compared to those, in my opinion, visually. I think other games like Live Alive and Octopath Traveler utilize lighting, shadows, and effects better. Locations like dungeons and cities felt more detailed and alive in those games. In Dragon Quest III, everything feels standard in comparison, like they had a checklist of the basic things an HD-2D game needs and didn't try to go beyond that. Now, I know there are some gamers that dislike a lot of particle effects, and if that's the case for you, then Dragon Quest III may be more appealing. The character sprites also aren't the greatest, specifically when you're facing left or right. The sprites look flat, as there's no angle to a character. I don't even know if I'm explaining this correctly, but here's a comparison of what I'm talking about. In Octopath, you see the whole character. There is depth, where in Dragon Quest III, it's just their side. I think depth is really important for the character sprites, especially if you're going to label a game with HD-2D. Dragon Quest III character sprites make me feel like they're detached from the world around them, as if they should be in a different game. There's also controversy surrounding this game regarding censorship. I don't want to deep dive into it, as I don't want this video to be derailed by it, but I will say this. I don't think games should be censored, nor do I feel a game designer should change what they make to cater to anyone. They should make the game the way they want to.
That's all I have to say about that.
One complaint I have that I do want to dive into is the price of this game. In no way is this game worth $60. And yes, I am aware of the irony of me saying that having received this game for free. There is not enough content provided, nor are the changes made impressive enough to justify the cost for this remake. Though I have no issue with Dragon Quest III's story and combat being simple, if I were to put $60 down, I'd want a lot more depth than what this game provides. Think about it. A lot of us spent $70 or more at the beginning of this year on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, another classic RPG that was remade. The game was flooded with content, immense depth of characters and plot, more complex gameplay, and very impressive graphics. The cost there is justifiable to me because so much was provided. Rebirth also took a great deal of time to complete, therefore making me feel like I got my money's worth. Dragon Quest III I beat in less than 30 hours. And what makes me worry is around the corner we have the Dragon Quest I and II remakes coming out, and I sure as shit know Dragon Quest I is very short. And what if the price tag for that is $60 as well? $120 for 3 short RPGs remade as HD-2D? That would be too steep for me. I honestly wish they didn't divide up the trilogy and just release them all together for like $70. I can't help but feel this decision was made from greed, as Square knows that Dragon Quest is extremely popular. My personal qualms about the price and views on the graphics aside, Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake is good. It's not great, but it's a fun time and a great way to experience a classic RPG with some modern day touch-ups. I consider this version of Dragon Quest III to be the definitive and best version everyone should play, but I would wait for a sale if you have not purchased it yet. Have you played Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake? What did you think about it? Feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching.